For pec minor, you're going to support the arms with towels, and you're going to visually look at the shoulders touching the table, usually 2 finger breaths. Yeah, finger breaths. Breaths. Get your arms down.
Sorry, you have to make sure the towel isn't in the way of your...
Oh my god, when we rewatch these videos, I'm gonna die.
She's good. For pec major clavicular fibers, we're going to stabilize the opposite shoulder and bring her arm down until you reach end point and feel. You feel it? Where are you feeling it? Where are you feeling the stretch? Okay. For pec major sternal fibers, you're going to stabilize the opposite ASIS, and then you're going to bring it down roughly around 135 degrees. You're kind of hitting the table, but we get it. Okay. Next, we're going to test the lats and the rhomboids major minor. Patient is going to have her thumb straight up, and she's going to bring them overhead until they hit the table. She's about even there. Now to eliminate the lats to see which one is on stretch or which one's tight, she's going to lay her knees down, and she doesn't move, so she's not tight anywhere. We're going to test the internal rotators by doing external rotation. I'm going to support at the shoulder, and then I am going to bring her down into external rotation. She stops about there, which is about 90 degrees, which is normal. We're going to switch to internal rotation to test the internal rotators. You're going to support at the shoulder and the elbow, and you're going to bring her into internal rotation. She stops about 70 degrees, which is normal. So this is the external rotators by testing her in internal rotation. Next, we're going to muscle length test the biceps. We're going to put her elbow into full extension, and then we're going to do full extension at the glenoid-humeral joint. She stops back. We're going to muscle length test the triceps, so we're going to put her into full flexion of the elbow and full flexion of the glenoid-humeral joint. Push her until she stops. She stops about there.
All right, the first one we're going to do is extensor digitorum. We are going to have the arm extended, stabilized under the elbow. With our other arm, we are going to put our palm on the patient's wrist, and we are going to have them flex the digits inward. And once we do that all the way, we're going to ask our patient,
where do you feel it?
On the stretch.
Okay, and the wrist is also flexed in that. The next one is ECRL. Our elbow is also going to continually be extended. Oh my God. We're going to keep our wrist flexed. ECRL, we're going to ulnarly deviate. Do the same hand position. As we curl the fingers under, we are going to curl the index finger only for ECRL. Just like that. Mm-hmm. All right, and then we're going to do the exact same thing for ECRB, ulnarly deviate, and then bring the middle finger in, and ask the patient if they feel the stretch.
Feel it.
Mm-hmm. All right, that was extensor digitorum, ECRL, and ECRB. All right, the first one we're going to do is extensor digitorum. We are going to have the arm extended, stabilized under the elbow. With our other arm, we are going to put our palm on the patient's wrist, and we are going to have them flex the digits inward. And once we do that all the way, we're going to ask our patient,
where do you feel it?
On the stretch.
Okay, and the wrist is also flexed in that. The next one is ECRL. Our elbow is also going to continually be extended. Oh my God. We're going to keep our wrist flexed. ECRL, we're going to ulnarly deviate. Do the same hand position. As we curl the fingers under, we are going to curl the index finger only for ECRL. Just like that. Mm-hmm. All right. And then we're going to do the exact same thing for ECRB. Ulnarly deviate, and then bring the middle finger in. And ask the patient if they feel the stretch.
Feel it.
All right, that was extensor digitorum, ECRL, and ECRB. All right, we're going to be doing FCU, flexor carpi ulnaris. We're going to have the elbow extended. Stabilization arm is going to be under the elbow. Our wrist is extended, and we're going to extend the wrist. All right, and we're going to radial deviate for FCU. We're going to ask our patient if they feel the stretch.
Not really.
Okay.
That's
And then we're going to do FCR. Same thing, elbow extended, stabilization arm under the elbow, wrist is still extended. We're going to ulnarly deviate for FCR.
Feel it? Where do you feel it? No?
A little bit in here.
Okay.
That's good.
And that was for FCR and FCU. All right, this is going to be FCU. We have the elbow extended. We have our stabilization hand under the elbow. We are going to have the wrist in extension. We're going to extend back. For FCU, we radially deviate. And then we ask the patient where they feel the stretch.
Where do you feel it? Okay.
All right, now we're going to do FCR, which is the same thing. Elbow extended, stabilization arm under the elbow. We're going to ulnarly deviate for FCR with the wrist extended. And then we're going to ask our patient where they feel the stretch again. Awesome, that was FCR, FCU. All right, this is flexor digitorum superficialis. We are going to have the elbow extended. Our stabilization hand is under the elbow. We are going to have the wrist extended. And then as we extend the wrist, we're going to extend the MCPs and then the PIPs for superficialis. All right, now we're going to do flexor digitorum profundus. This time we have the flexion of the elbow, which is the main difference. We're still going to have the wrist extended. And as we extend onto the wrist, we're going to extend the MCPs. Then we extend the PIPs, and we're going to extend the DIPs, which is also the difference from superficialis.
Feels it right there.
For both those muscles, we ask our patient where we felt the stretch, and that was superficialis and profundus. All right, the next muscle we're going to look at is supinator. We have our arm extended. Our stabilization arm is under the elbow. Our other arm is gripping below the wrist. We are going to do the opposite action and bring the arm into pronation. We're going to watch for the shoulder and make sure that no deviations are happening up there. And then we're going to ask our patient where they are feeling the stretch. All right, now we're going to do pronator. We're going to have the arm back at neutral. Arm extended, stabilization hand still under the elbow. Force arm is still in the same position. We're now bringing the arm into supination because we're testing the pronators. Still watch for the shoulder and make sure that no deviations are happening up there. We're going to ask our patient where they're feeling the stretch. All right, and that was supinator and pronator.
Now we're going to test the supraspinatus. We're going to have the patient look up, away, and have her head extended to put the trapezius on slack. I'm going to have the patient do this motion, abduction. Can you do this motion? Good. I'm going to stabilize at the shoulder. I'm going to abduct slightly, and I'm going to push on her. I'm going to say, hold, don't let me move you. Good. Give that about a 4.
Right, you can show everyone how weak I am.
Next, we're going to test the middle deltoid fibers. So I'm going to bring her into abduction about 90 degrees. I'm going to stabilize at her shoulder. I'm going to have her do the motion. So this is the motion. Can you do that motion? Good. I'm going to put her right here, and I'm going to push with my force arm straight down. So hold, don't let me move you. Good. Next, we're going to test the anterior deltoid fibers. I'm going to bring her into abduction, slight flexion, well, horizontal flexion, and external rotation. I'm going to tell her this is the motion to punch towards the sky. Can you do it? Beautiful. I'm going to put her into this position, and I'm going to pull down and away. So ready? Hold, don't let me move you. Good.
3, 2, 1.
Next, we're going to test the posterior deltoid fibers. I'm going to bring her into abduction, slight extension, and internal rotation. I'm going to have, this is the motion, starting the lawnmower. Can you do that motion? Good. So I'm going to keep her in this position, and I'm going to push down. So I'm going to say, hold, don't let me move you. Ready? Hold. Good. Next, we're gonna test the trapezius. We're gonna have her look up and away towards the light and bring her shoulder up. So this is the motion. Can you do that motion? Beautiful. I'm gonna have her stay in this position. I'm gonna bring my arm down and then push her head away. So I'm gonna say, hold, don't let me move you. Good.
That feels so weird.
Next, we're gonna test the pec major. We're gonna do the clavicular fibers first. I'm going to stabilize at the opposite shoulder, bring her arm into a neutral position, and have her horizontally adduct. That's the motion. Can you do that? All right, I'm gonna hold her here, and I'm gonna pull away. Ready? Hold, don't let me move you. Good. Next, we're gonna test the clavicular or sternal fibers. So we're gonna stabilize at the ASIS, and we're gonna pull down and away at 135 degrees roughly. Ready? Hold. Oh, this is the motion. Can you do that motion? Good. Have it. Hold her here. Ready? Hold. Don't let me move you. Good. Next, we're gonna test the serratus anterior. I'm gonna bring her arm up into 90-degree flexion and her wrist in neutral. I'm gonna have her punch towards the ceiling. That is a motion. Can you do that motion? Good. So I'm gonna bring her up. I'm gonna place my hand underneath, and I am going to have a force arm like this, straight down. So I'm gonna say, hold, don't let me move you. Next, we're going to test the coracobrachialis. We're going to put her arm into flexion to put the biceps on stretch or slack. Sorry. Put the biceps on slack. This is going to be the motion. Can you do that motion? Good. I'm going to put her in this position, stabilize the opposite shoulder, and I'm going to bring my force arm and pull away and down. Ready? Hold. Don't let me move you. Good. Next, we're gonna test the internal and external rotators. For external rotation, we have this towel under here to put the shoulder in a good position. I'm gonna stabilize the shoulder, and she's gonna do this motion. So can you do this motion? So this is external rotation. I'm gonna hold her here, and I'm gonna push down. I'm gonna say, hold to let me move you. Good. And then we're gonna do internal rotation. So this is gonna be the movement. Can you do that motion? Good. I'm gonna hold her here. I'm gonna say, hold, don't let me move you. Good.
And we also have a pillow under the patient to reduce lordosis for both of these.
Okay, next we're gonna test the latissimus dorsi. What we're gonna have her do is we're gonna put her into internal rotation, and the motion is extension and adduction. So this is gonna be the motion. Can you do that motion? Good. I'm gonna have her right here. I'm gonna stabilize the opposite hip, and I'm gonna pull down and away. So ready? Hold, don't let me move you. Good. Next, we're gonna test the middle and lower fibers of the trapezius. You're gonna have your patient prone and a towel underneath the shoulder. You're gonna have the patient put their thumb up, and this is gonna be the motion for the middle fibers. So can you do that motion? Good. So I'm gonna have her hold here, and I'm gonna push down and in. So ready? Hold, don't let me move you. Good. For the lower fibers, I'm gonna bring her up into about a 135-degree angle. This is gonna be the motion. Can you do that motion? Good. Ready? Hold, don't let me move you. Good. Next, we're gonna do teres major and subscapularis. They have the same movements, so we're gonna put in extension, flex the elbow, and slight adduction. So then this is gonna be the motion. Can you do that motion? Beautiful.
I'm not doing it.
I'm gonna stabilize the
It's a weird
opposite
motion.
shoulder. I'm gonna bring her up and in, and I'm gonna pull down and away. So hold, don't let me move you. Ooh, she's strong. Good.
All right, this one is rhomboids, levator scapula, and trapezius.
You're gonna bring the arm into flexion, so the motion is gonna be elevation and retraction. So this is the motion. Can you do that motion? Good. So I'm gonna bring her up. I'm gonna push away with this arm, and I'm gonna pull into abduction with the other arm. So ready? Hold, don't let me move you. Holy man, she's good.
Okay, we're gonna do biceps. This is the motion. Make sure her palm is facing her. Go ahead and do that for me. We're gonna stabilize at the lateral humerus. My forearm is pulling into extension. Okay, so go ahead and let me move that up a little bit. Okay, hold, don't let me move you. Okay, good. Now we're gonna do the supinator. And you're gonna bring it into like a chicken wing because it puts the biceps on slack. Stabilization is at the top of the elbow. And then this is the motion, the pronation. So go ahead and do that for me. Okay, I'm gonna wrap my arm around and make sure I push through the radial head. So hold on, let me move you. Okay, good. And then we're going to do the brachioradialis, and make sure the palm is facing me this time because then it focuses purely on the brachioradialis. So same stabilization as the biceps. So hold, go ahead and do this for me. Okay, hold, don't let me move you. Okay, good. Okay, triceps and anconeus. This is the movement. Go ahead and do it. Okay, good. The anconeus, the elbow's gonna be slightly flexed. Stabilize, lumbrical grip with the upper forearm, and then your forearm's pushing down. Okay, so hold, don't let me move you. No, give me a sec. Hold, don't let me move you. Okay, and then with the triceps, it's gonna be full 90 degrees flexion, and it's your triceps only. Same stabilization, same forearm. So hold, don't let me move you. Okay.
Action.
This is extensor digitorum. Our patient's elbow is going to be slightly flexed. Our wrist is going to be slightly extended. The therapist is going to put her force arm, or our stabilization arm, below the wrist, and then force arm on the hand. We're going to extend the MCP and PIPs.
Go ahead and do that movement. Wrist. Okay. There it is. All right. Hold, don't let me move you. Okay.
All right, this is ECRL. Our patient's elbow is slightly flexed. The wrist is slightly extended. We're going to radial deviate the hand, and the therapist is going to have their stabilization hand below the wrist and their force arm 2 to 3 fingers on the radial side, pulling down. The therapist before will ask the patient, can you do this movement? The patient will do the movement. All right.
Okay. Hold, don't let me move you.
All right, that was ECRL. Now we're going to do ECRB. The difference is the patient's going to come all the way forward so that the elbow is fully bent. Stabilization arm will still be under the wrist, and the force arm will still be pulling on the radial side into ulnar deviation.
Okay. Go ahead and do that motion. Okay. Hold, don't let me move you.
All right, and that was ECRB. All right, this is extensor carpi ulnaris. Our patient's elbow is slightly flexed. The wrist is slightly extended. The motion is going to be an ulnar deviation. The therapist will ask the patient to do the motion.
Go ahead and do that. Okay.
All right, therapist stabilization hand will be under the wrist, and the force arm will be on the ulnar side, pulling into radial deviation.
Okay. Hold, don't let me move you.
All right, that was ECU. All right, this is flexor carpi ulnaris. Our patient's elbow is slightly bent. The wrist is slightly flexed. The therapist will put the arm in slight radial deviation. She's going to ask the patient, can you do this movement?
Can you do this movement? Okay.
Okay. She will place 2 to 3 fingers on the radial side and pull into ulnar deviation.
Like that. Okay. Hold, don't let me move you. Good.
All right, and that is FCR. All right, this is flexor carpi ulnaris. Patient elbow is slightly flexed. Wrist is slightly flexed as well, pulled into ulnar deviation. Therapist will ask patient, can you do this movement?
Can you do that movement? Good job.
Okay, place 2 to 3 fingers on the ulnar side, pulling into radial deviation.
Okay, hold on, let me move you.
Where do you feel the contraction? All right, and that was FCU. This is pronator teres and quadratus. Patient's arm is going to be elbow flexed at 70 degrees. Our wrist will be put into pronation because we want to supinate it. We're going to have our stabilization hand on the humerus to prevent abduction of the arm. Our therapist is going to demonstrate the movement and ask the patient if they can do it.
Do that movement. Good.
All right, patient or therapist is going to grab around and supinate the arm.
All right, ready? Hold, don't let me move you.
All right, and that was pronator teres and quadratus. All right, this is going to be quadratus. We are going to put the pronator teres and make it actively insufficient by fully flexing the elbow. The wrist will still be in pronation, and we're going to be putting it into supination. Therapist is going to ask the patient, can you do this movement?
This is the movement.
Okay. Stabilization hand will be on the humerus still, and therapist will now rotate into supination.
Okay, ready? Hold, don't let me move you.
And again, that was quadratus, putting the pronator teres, making it actively insufficient.
Next, we're going to do an inferior glide of the glenoid or glenohumeral joint. So I am going to stabilize into his armpit. My thumb's going to hit the inferior neck of the glenoid fossa to prevent this motion. And then I'm going to grab at the distal humerus. I'm going to have a good body mechanics squat down, and I'm going to pull him down to get the inferior glide.
Alright, so I just take this hand, just kind of put it right on top of the scapula and shoulder right there, where I've got my middle finger just kind of like hidden right around the clavicle. Then I just kind of feel around with this one, go a little bit below the joint line, kind of.
You're feeling for the humerus.
Yeah, and I just kind of push everything out of the way. And then I put this arm at a 90-degree angle. And then all I do is gradually push down. You feel it?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the anterior glide?
Yeah.
Glenohumeral joint.
Next, we're going to do a posterior lateral glide of the glenohumeral joint. The PT is going to put a towel under the humerus, have the arm into internal rotation. She's going to stabilize at the scapula, and she's going to push down in a posterior lateral glide. You see the humerus moving posterior and lateral. Okay. Next, we're going to do elbow traction. You have the patient supine with her knees up. There is a towel under her humerus to put her shoulder in a good position. The PT has her arm flexed to 80-90 degrees, resting on her shoulder.
Not on my boobs.
Not on her boobs. She's going to stabilize at the humerus. She's going to take a lumbrical grip around the proximal forearm, and she's going to pull down and slightly up to get the ulna out of the fossa. Good. Next, we're going to do a radial glide. You're going to have the arm supported with a towel underneath the humerus. You're going to lay her hand on her stomach. This is going to put it into a loose pack position. You're going to palpate for the head of the radius.
Coming in close.
Do far away. I'm going to stabilize at the humerus, and I'm going to put my hypothenar and thenar onto her radius, and I'm going to push medially to get the glide. And then I'm going to grab underneath towards the radius, and I'm going to pull towards me to get the lateral glide. Okay. Next, we're going to do the adductor pollicis. I'm going to have a lumbrical grip stabilizing at the wrist and the hand. Adduction is going to be in this motion, so can you do that motion? Good. I'm going to put her into adduction. I'm going to pull away at the proximal phalanx. Get in there. Okay, ready? Hold to let me move you. Good. Next, we're going to do flexor pollicis brevis. This is going to be the motion. Can you do that motion? Good. I'm going to put her into flexion. I'm going to pull at the proximal phalanx. Hold to let me move you. Good. Next, we're going to do the abductor digiti minimi. I'm going to stabilize under the hand and bring my thumb over for more stabilization. This is going to be the motion. Can you do that motion? Good. I'm going to put her into abduction, and I'm going to pull at the proximal phalanx. Hold to let me move you. Good. Next one's going to be opponent's digiti minimi. This is going to be the motion. Can you do that motion? Good. And then I'm going to have her flex, and I'm going to pull at the distal metacarpal. So ready? Hold, let me move you. Good. And then we're going to do flexor digiti minimi. This is going to be the motion. Do that motion. Good. I'm going to put her into flexion. I'm going to pull at the proximal phalanx. Hold to let me move you. Good. Next, we're going to do the dorsal interossei. I'm going to stabilize at the hand. Dorsal interossei do abduction, so we're going to abduct the finger. Can you do that motion? Good. I'm going to put her in abduction, and I'm going to pull towards midline. Hold to let me move you. And it's at the proximal phalanx. I'm going to flip her over, and we're going to do the palmar interossei. They're going to do adduction. So adduct. Can you do that motion? Good. I'm going to put her into adduction. I'm going to pull at the proximal phalanx. Hold to let me move you. Good. So, next we're going to test the lumbricals. The lumbricals do flexion at the MCP joint and extension at the PIP and DIP. So the first thing we're going to do is test the MCP. So we're going to do flexion right here. So that's the motion. Can you do it? Good. I'm going to put her into flexion. I'm going to pull down. Ready? Hold to let me move you. Good. I'm going to flip her over, and I'm going to stabilize at the proximal phalanx. It's going to be extension of the PIP and DIP. So that's the motion. Can you do it? Good. So I'm going to hold. Don't let me move you. Good. Next, we're going to test the flexor digitorum profundus. It has attachment at the DIP. So I'm going to stabilize right at the middle phalanx with 2 fingers. I'm going to have her flex the DIP joint. Flex it. Good. So I'm going to put her into flexion. I'm going to pull away. So hold. Don't let me move you. Good. First, we're going to do abductor pollicis brevis. The action is going to be this. So can you do that motion? Good. I'm going to put her into abduction, and I'm going to pull down on the proximal phalanx. Hold on, let me move you. Good. Next, we're going to do opponent's pollicis. So this is going to be the motion. Can you do that motion? Good. Put her into that opposition, and then I'm going to pull at the first metacarpal. So ready? Hold on, let me move you. Good. Next, we're going to do flexor pollicis longus. So flexion is this. Can you do that motion? Good. Longus has. Next, we're going to do flexor pollicis longus. So flexion's going to be this motion. Can you do that motion? Good. I'm going to put her into flexion, and then I'm going to pull at the first metacarpal. So hold on, let me move you. Good. And then flexor pollicis brevis is going to be, oh, nope, it's in there. And then you're going to have her stay in flexion, and you're going to pull at the proximal phalanx. So ready? Hold on, let me move you. Good.
Go.
Next, we're going to do palmaris longus. I'm going to have her touch her thumb and her pinky together in slight flexion of the wrist. So I'm going to take both my hands on the hypothenar and thenar muscles, and I'm going to pull down and out. So ready? Hold to let me move you. Good. Next, we're going to test the flexor digitorum superficialis. It has attachment at the middle phalanx or PIP joint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stabilize at the proximal phalanx. This is going to be the motion, flexion. Do that. Good. Put her into flexion, and I'm going to pull the middle phalanx. So hold to let me move you. Good.
Oh.
Next, we're going to length test the lumbricals. So you want to do the opposite, which it's flexion of the MCP joint and extension of the PIP DIP. So I'm going to put her into extension of the MCP, And then I'm gonna do flexion of these two. So you're gonna hold, feel it? Okay.
And go.
Next, we're gonna do extensor pollicis longus. So we're going to stabilize at the proximal phalanx. And so it's gonna be extension of the DIP. Can you do that? Good. I'm gonna put her into extension and I'm gonna pull down. Ready? Hold, don't let me move you. Good. And then we're gonna do extensor pollicis brevis. So this is gonna be the motion. I'm gonna stabilize at the metacarpal. Can you do that? Good. I'm gonna put her into extension. I'm gonna pull down. Ready? Hold, don't let me move you. Next, we're gonna do the abductor pollicis longus. It has an attachment site at the metacarpal, so we're gonna do adduction. Do that motion. Good. I'm gonna put her into abduction. I'm gonna stabilize at the hand, and I'm gonna pull on the first metacarpal. So hold, don't let me move you. Good. Next. Oh, shit. You're gonna have, oh crap, just stop. Next, we're gonna do the radial traction. Oh.